already started recording. Okay, a very good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining for the book discussion on Six Thinking Hats, written by Edward de Bono. We have divided these six thinking hats between six participants. The first hat, the white hat, is was given to Dr. Mariam Narona, and she has shared a video on YouTube in which um, she has explained the white hat. So Akshat will be sharing that video. Akshat, could you please share the video? And if it is quite slow, you can increase the speed to 1.25.
Hi everyone. Just to kick off the book discussion on six thinking hats, which we are having today, that is 20th March 2021. Six Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono. Personally, I think education in schools and colleges really does not prepare us for life. Nobody teaches us the importance of thinking, and thinking guides our decisions, it guides our perceptions, how we deal with people. And that's why I think this is like a gem of a book on learning to think and learning to think in the right direction. So I'm going to cover the white hat, and I'm going to cover chapters 1 to 9 of this book. And chapter 1 basically introduced the concept of parallel thinking. And I found it so interesting to note that, what is parallel thinking? I'd never heard the term before this, that at any moment, everyone is looking in the same direction. And this is so important when you have a discussion or a debate, or you're in a meeting and you want to decide something. It's very important that at that particular moment everyone is looking in the same direction, whether they are thinking about things neutrally, or they're thinking about things from an emotional perspective, or they're looking at possibilities, or they're looking at dangers. And this is what the book propounds, that everybody should try wearing the hat, which could be white, red, black, yellow, green, blue, any of these hats. And at that time, if everyone wears that hat, then they're able to make better decisions. Now, my key takeaways from this chapter were that the hats, the six hats in different colors, are not descriptions of the people who are wearing those hats, but they are modes of behavior. And the point of parallel thinking is that everyone's experience and intelligence should be used in the same direction. Okay, and at that particular time, that is, if everybody is thinking neutrally, it helps. If everybody is being objective, it helps. If everybody is being emotional at that particular point of time, maybe each one brings their own experience and intelligence to that particular and that situation and that particular color of the hat which they are wearing. And most times, sadly, we use thinking to parade our egos and to attack people and to put other people down. That's how we use thinking, and not because we choose argument or conflict as the best way. All of us know that it's not the best way, but it's sadly the only way we know. And the second chapter is a brief on the different hats and what they stand for. So, the white hat, which is for neutrality or objectiveness, that stands for data, facts, information that is known or it is needed. The red hat stands for feelings, emotions, how you think, your hunch, your instinct, intuitions. Then the black hat stands for difficulties, potential problems, dangers, why something won't work. Yellow hat stands for values and benefits, why something may work. The blue hat is a process hat, which is managing the next steps. What are the actions that we need to take to execute this? And the green hat is a creative hat, that is solutions, alternatives, new ideas. Before we take a look at how to use a white hat, or more about white hat thinking, let's just take a look at how we can use the six thinking hats in discussions and deliberations. The author says that don't use an evolving sequence and don't try and use every hat. So if you have a preset sequence for a meeting or discussion where you say, okay, we will start with the blue hat and we will then all wear the white hat and then the green hat, that might work better, a preset sequence. And this is appropriate for decision making, problem solving, exploration, dispute resolution, and decision making. Okay. Using the white hat is beneficial in all these areas of human interactions. And it is advisable that everyone wears the blue hat at the beginning or and at the end, because blue at the beginning establishes the background, the context, the it defines a problem, and it puts before you what you want to achieve. So in any discussion or deliberation that you have, always it's important to remember, okay, what do I want to achieve at the end of this discussion, and that keeps you on track, and the blue hat helps. Then blue at the end is also recommended because it will help you to establish outcomes, conclusions, design the solution, and the next steps which are to be taken. Now, some other pointers as far as the six thinking hats are concerned, that black should not be used after blue, because if we start thinking about problems and dangers, we never move ahead. We might tend to hold ourselves back. Then green, yellow, and black hats are useful for individual thinking within groups. So when an individual thinks, he might wear these hats so that he is able to contribute better as a team player. White is recommended for the beginning and at the end. Beginning for background establishment and end for an assessment, objective background and an objective assessment. That is very important. White is neutral, as I've already mentioned, and white forces us to think or makes us think about what information do we have, what is that information which we need, which we do not have, which we need to get, what information is missing and might be critical to help us to take a decision. What questions do we need to ask to get that information, and how are we going to get the information that we need? Which are the sources we need to tap, how much time, which mode, all these things. Now, the white hat is a convenient way to ask for facts and figures in a neutral and objective manner. But one must be careful not to overwhelm other people with information. So when you have information, put it across in a neutral manner without letting your personal bias, judgment, what you think, what you estimate, what you fear coming in. It also helps to have focused and suitable questions that are essential to seek information when you're using the white hat. And the person asking for the information must be wearing the white hat himself. Now, chapter 5 is on white hat thinking. That is, whose fact is it? Who is the person who is presenting this fact? Now, is this actually a fact, or is it just a likelihood that there are chances of something happening? Is it raining, or is it likely to rain? Something like that. Is it a belief? Now, a belief is very different from a fact. It is very different from the truth. It might be very different from reality. So, is it a belief? And are there any facts? You need to focus on this. Now, what are facts? Facts are checkable experiences. So, you check facts before using them. This is also very important. And don't exaggerate facts. Like, if you say that all swans are white, this is not a fact. You can say that majority of swans in this world are white. This may be a better fact than, and actually close to reality. You can check this with statistics and facts before you use this. So don't exaggerate things. Chapter 6 tells us a little bit about the Japanese style input with regard to the use of the white hat. Now, the Japanese notion is such that ideas emerge like seedlings and they mature, grow, and take shape as you allow them to, instead of arguing and hammering something into into shape, which is what we think. Okay, I will argue my point, or even in the Western approach, it's like I keep arguing and pushing for my way, and then that's how I'm going to prove things. So the Japanese style input says that each participant wears the white hat and gives his piece of neutral information. And slowly, because each person gives one bit of neutral information, what emerges is a much more richer and more complete picture. That helps better decision making. And chapter 7 is about facts, truths, and philosophy. Now, truth is related to philosophy. Whereas facts, as I mentioned just a little bit earlier, they are connected to checkable experience. So white hat thinking is about usable information, practical purpose. There's nothing absolute about it, and it is more about a direction in which we work and strive to get better. So this is what is mentioned in chapter 7 as far as white hat thinking is concerned. These are the significant or pertinent points. Then in chapter 8, there's a little bit of talk about who puts on the hat. So you put on your own white hat, or you can ask someone else to put it on if you are unable to be neutral and objective. Or ask everyone to put it on, so that, like in the Japanese input, it might give you a more richer and more complete picture. And choose to answer with the hat on. So if there's a question that is posed, try to answer it objectively. And most times what happens is we get lost in, who is saying it instead of whether what is being said is right or correct. I think white hat thinking compels us to do this, to be objective about what is being said rather than who is saying it, how they are saying it, what is their tone when they said it. And chapter 9 is a summary of white hat thinking. That is, you can act like a computer. White hat thinking makes you act like a computer. Computers unaffected by the facts or the numbers that you feed in, and the output also is unaffected by feelings, emotions, because the computer doesn't have one. So act like a computer. Take the inputs in and then process them objectively to solve problems. Then have a two-tier system. That is, you can have facts which are checked and facts which are not fully checked in order to have better quality decisions. Because if you don't check up and see if the what is being stated as a fact is authentic or not, then obviously that is going to hamper the quality of the decisions that you take. Always true to never true spectrum. This needs to be it needs to be taken into consideration. Something that is always true. Okay, so if the temperature falls below so much, there's always going to be rainfall, or there's always going to be rain and snow. These it's like always true to never true. So every time it becomes cloudy, does it rain? No, it's not always true. So does it rain in say in February? Might be in, or does it rain in the desert in a particular month? Then that might be never true. So you have to consider this spectrum as far as facts which are being presented are concerned. And the usable levels, by and large, where you want to use white hat thinking, you want to use it sometimes, you want to use it occasionally. This is what you need to determine. And remember that white hat thinking is a discipline and a direction. And actually, people who employ white hat thinking as thinkers, they strive to be more neutral and objective in the presentation of information. So, thank you. That was my part as far as Edward de Bono's Six Thinking Hat goes. And I hope it was not too lengthy. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Akshat. Would anyone like to add on to this, or discuss any point which they would like to discuss? Any opinion of yours, something? Because at the end of the day, it's discussion which leads to cross-pollination of ideas. I've mentioned this before as well. So as friends, or if you feel that you have an experience to share, or some question or doubt, anyone? I'll wait for 10 seconds and then we'll move on to the next speaker. I'll throw a question if you are not going to do that.
One thing that was very interesting was that you cannot wear all six hats at the same time. Your brain, or when you're present in a certain moment, there's only a certain part of your brain thinking, right? So even when we approach, suppose a difficult situation, you have to pick how you want to think.
Right, right, right. I mean, at times that becomes something which keeps us back from resolving a conflict. Because if I may share something with you, with all of you, at when I have an argument, I mean anyone, if you have any argument with someone, it's not just the facts which matter, but also
the context and the person or the relationship you share with that person. That person is very close to you, then you have an emotional connection. And if that person doesn't believe in objectivity, doesn't believe in neutrality, and he's going to take you otherwise, he or she, it becomes difficult to only logically tackle such people. I have faced it. I mean, with logic, you can shut their mouths. That is there. That's how the white thinking hat essentially is what judges, people who adjudicate cases, these people are supposed to wear white thinking hats. When it comes to, I told you, logic, you with logic, you can just shut a person's mouth, but then without that, you may lose out on that relationship. So this is always balancing which we have to do, is what I would say in this respect. So if anyone has anything else to say, 5 seconds, I'll wait. And then we'll move on to Trisha. She has the red thinking hat. Before that, has anyone read all the thinking hats? I have not. If anyone has, please let us know. Okay, there's no response. We'll go on to Trisha. Trisha, you may take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so when I was reading The Red Thinking Hat, the words that came to my mind were emotional intelligence. Now, when you're learning, when you're in a school, they don't really teach you how to deal with your emotions. And I think through this session, maybe we can learn about that. So, the Red Thinking Hat is about emotions and feelings. These emotions and feelings include intuition. Uh, Sometimes you have various senses from people in a situation. It could be tension, it's hunches, irrationality. If we talk about a company, your emotions can help bring out values of the company through its marketing. Just a second. So, when we talk about a company, your emotions can bring out values of the company through its marketing, for example, or how good its customer service is. But if we talk in terms of small businesses, you can talk about how they customize their delivery. It can also show the intention of a company. Now, when in the book, there are two main thoughts. Emotions can help navigate a plan, and emotions can cloud your judgment. Now, I want to give all of y'all a situation. Uh, if suppose you are working with a colleague and you have a technical issue, but sometimes people say things and they don't mean to say it. So how do you overcome, how would you react to the situation? Not react, how would you deal with the situation? And how do you use your intuition? How would you think with your red hat?
I think that's an open-ended question. जिन्हें भी बोलना है बोलिए, ये आपके लिए एक मंच है बोलने के लिए. You express yourself however you want to. There's no bar on
I'm not getting the
anyone.
question.
Okay, I'll explain it as from a different point of view. Suppose you have a group presentation and somebody is not agreeing with the work that you've done. So then, how do you handle the? How do you have a conversation with that person, or do you just completely ignore them, or do you just bring a third party in? But a third party is not really an option because you have to use your red hat.
Okay, so first of all, it is a group discussion. So everyone's opinion matter uh, first place, and if somebody is not agreeing what the thing agreeing with my opinion, or we are not ending up on a same platform, I'll give his opinion the first priority from my side. And
That's it. Thank you, Maitali, for sharing. Would anybody else like to answer?
Well, it's been quite difficult for me. I just said that, there's always balancing between logic and emotion. Logic and emotion becomes very difficult. Now, let me explain this with my own personal experience. When I deal with my mother, I have to deal with her emotionally. When I deal with her logically, uh, there are times where, I mean, when you try to be objective and you try to be logical, and the person in front of you is emotional, he or she believes that, see, you are my son, so you should listen to me. That's the sense which they have. That's the understanding which they have. So if you keep throwing logic at them, and I may win the argument, but I may not win the person. It is very difficult for me, Trisha. If I have done group projects, and even right now there's a certain group in which I have to keep asking, please do it, please do it. And I think this is how this subtle shaming, I would call this subtle shaming. It's not even shaming. You're being very polite with the person in the group. You're tagging that person and saying, please do this. They've been waiting. Your work is very important. So when you make that person feel that, yeah, your work is important and I'm naming you, while I'm not naming you and shaming you directly, when I name you in front of everyone, the the responsibility on you increases, because we people are social creatures. We're conscious about what other people think about us. So that is how I would deal with it. And if it goes overboard, I have also in second year I have removed a person when it went overboard. Even after a lot of follow-ups with that person, then the team collectively decided, in the larger interest of the team and without having any personal grudges, we removed that person. We gave him reasons and we told him that you have not responded for so many to so many requests for even meeting. So this is what we've decided. So initially, then that's how we emotionally told him, you see, if you were in our place, what would you have done? Think and tell me. And that person, he may have, he was disheartened because he was at loss. He never attended lectures and he thought he could use us as baits. So this is how I would deal with it. Now his removal did not really affect us adversely. So that's how I have dealt with such a situation. That's how. अगर कोई और हो तो please tell us. And I know for a fact that BVOC has been given many assignments. So if BVOC students speak up, there's majority of BVOC students over here. It's actually shameful. Sorry, it is shameful because we have over 800 BCom students and only 50 or 100 BVOC students, and we have more BVOC students. So we would love the BVOC students to add to this. And welcome, madam.
Yeah, hi. I did not get the question, so I'm like at sea here.
Ma'am, it was basic. Good evening, ma'am. Basically, it was
Good evening.
how you would think with your red hat in a difficult situation when you have a disagreement with someone.
So I can say how I deal.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
So what I think my dog is barking. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so what I think is basically if the emotion I'm experiencing is anger, then I will be silent until I feel okay enough to speak. And whenever you want to share anything, obviously as human beings we are going to have an emotional reaction to things. So I think if it's a positive emotion like excitement, happiness and all that, it's the your communication is naturally going to be pleasant. You only need to think, I think, when you're angry or it's unpleasant or it's a difficult situation. But still, I think I find it like I find the fact that people don't wear masks at work, even teachers don't wear, I find it infuriating. I'm actually angry. So the other day when I entered a room, there were and forcibly to submit some documents, there were three people without masks. So I I just chose to ask them कि आपका vaccination हो गया क्या? So they said no. तो I said तो फिर mask क्यों नहीं पहना? नहीं नहीं अभी उतारा. It became like that. So that's how probably I would deal with it.
Thank you for sharing, ma'am. Would anybody else like to share anything?
Okay, so according to me, if a person does not agree with me, then I will respect his decision, and and I will try to find another way to work around it in a group project. And yes, I think that's it.
Yeah, true. But sometimes in a group, when people don't work, then we have to give them some, you know, like tell them, okay, give them either deadline or say, can you tell me how much you've contributed to this so far? And are you experiencing any problems so far? And can we help in any way? Try actually different ways work with different people. Sometimes deadlines also don't work with others. Yeah, so if that's a group thing, I don't know. What y'all are. I mean, I had not got the context. What Trisha told me, I understood. Maybe y'all are talking about some group thing, and I've understood it differently.
Yeah, that was the context she gave, that you're in a group, you're working in a group, and there's a difficult person who's not doing his job. So how would you deal with him? That
Okay,
was the
but she
context in
when
which,
I asked, she said that how would you communicate with someone with red hat thinking?
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am, that was my initial question, but somebody did not understand, so I put it into a different context.
Okay, all right. So
I
you all
was
have finished
reading.
only the white and red hat so far, or what? Black, yellow, green
No,
अभी होना है, red, blue.
GG.
Okay, so go ahead quickly. It's 5:30.
Yes,
Yes, yes, yes.
Discussion बाद में करो चाहिए तो. Okay.
okay, sure. So the red hat is very important for leadership and decision making. Leadership involves a lot of multitasking and sometimes and a lot of times micromanagement, and it can drain your mental energy. You have to be calm and not react when there's an emergency or when someone on your team has made a mistake. Now, one thought in the book was emotions are based on past experiences. A lot of good leaders take very quick and calculated decisions. They often use their past experiences and emotions so that they don't repeat their mistakes in the future. Emotional intelligence and feelings can make leaders more impactful. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Trisha.
thanks,
Now,
Trisha.
So now we go to the black hat or opposite of white. So Maithili, could you please take over the session?
Yes,
It's yours now.
thank you, Rohan. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. So I'll start with the quote with Edward de Bono. We may have a perfectly adequate way of doing something, but that does not mean there cannot be a better way. So we set out to find the alternative way. This is the basis of any improvement. That is not fault correction or probably problem solving. The black hat thinking hat is perhaps the most common hat in organizations that do not use the six thinking hat. People are used to find faults with concepts. They are also used to think, talking about obstacles. Finding the faults can be positive, but it can have a negative impact when it is being observed. This is why De Bono believes it is a better to have a single hat dedicated to finding faults. Black hat thinking covers the bad point judgment. Logic is applied to identify flaws, barriers, and obstacles. The black hat is also concerned with difficulty, weaknesses, and dangers that you might be face. The crucial point is that while wearing the black hat, you have to give justification for all the judgments. You have to give your logical reasoning. Based on this point, the black hat thinking is the opposite of the red hat. The black hat or the benefits of the black hat is to help you spot the risk associated with decision. People talk about bad things all the time, which can make meetings counterproductive. So black hat thinking should not be purely about negative points. Instead, it should also be about minimizing the risk through policy and regulation. The black hat represents the caution and what could go wrong. It point out what does not fit, what may not work, what is wrong, and hence protects us from fatal flaws and wasted resources. The black hat recognize the value of caution and risk assessment. It makes our plan more robust. Black hat is the judge's hat. The black hat identify risk. It is used for critical judgment and must give the logical resources for concerns. It is one of the most powerful hat. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Maithili. Anyone wants to ask her anything or has something to say on that? Or you'll want to discuss at the end anything? Huh? Otherwise, I have come and I'm saying, बाद में discuss
Hmm,
करो.
hmm, hmm. Yeah. Anyone? So, okay, then we'll move on to the fourth thinking hat, the yellow hat. I request Akshat to take over.
Okay. So am I loud enough to be heard properly?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So first of all, the book was really good by Edward de Bono, and it made me realize that why it is so important to understand that we should always keep an optimistic mindset. So since the hat that I have chosen is yellow hat, so I will start with it. So first of all, yellow hat is symbolic of happiness and positivity, and this hat basically encourages and stimulates a positive view or an optimistic mindset, that it is really very important to have to keep up with the spirit of optimism, because every time we keep on repeating so many, like we come across various types of experiences, maybe negative experiences, like unfavorable experiences, or maybe favorable experiences, and we all have heard of a very like in the scientific world we have a law that every action has equal and opposite reactions. So, keeping up with that, this hat says if you have an optimistic mindset, if you keep up with that, then definitely you'll come across so many positive experiences in your life, because you are attracting that positive energy towards you. So, for that matter, this hat will encourage and stimulate positive view even in the people who are always critical, and it looks for benefits in all situations. Then it says think of sunshine and think of optimism. What a person should do, Like under a yellow hat, a thinker has to deliberately set out to find out for whatever benefits there may be in any situation or in any suggestion. So always look for the positive point so that it will help you to grow in the proper direction, or you, whatever energy you have, it will be cabled and mobilized in the positive way. It will ultimately be productive at the end. And the author has very beautifully portrayed and depicted the need for all of us to develop the spirit of, or the sense of value sensitivity. So how he has showed, how he has illustrated is, he has shown his even he has shown his deep concern, distress and agitation too on the matter that unfortunately today people are not seeing the value in their own idea. Like they don't have confidence in their own idea, and then it is a sheer waste of time to set out to be even creative. Even if you are not going to recognize a good idea, then to then it will be a futile thing, it will be a meaningless activity. So first believe in your idea, that definitely you will you will come to realize that idea in the near future, and it will be in the physical form very soon. One more thought that I came across is, yellow hat possesses a very high value because it forces or sometimes encourages and stimulates people to spend time seeking out for value. Okay, so throughout the journey of the yellow hat, we will repeatedly come across, like I personally came across this word value several times, because ultimately the central idea of this yellow hat is to uh, uplift the spirit of value sensitivity. And at the end, last but not the least, Edward de Bono has not missed out, but very diligently he has quoted that yellow hat should be logically based. There should be some reason or cause to put forth the value, and it is a judgment hat, and it is not based on fantasy. So at the end, I should say, uh, to summarize, the yellow hat symbolizes brightness and optimism, and can explore the positives and even probe for the benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshat. Yes, this is an attitude which Marim Norona always speaks about, and this is generally accepted now. You have a positive attitude, and moreover, a right attitude according to the context. Let's move on. If anyone has anything to say, please let me know. I'll wait for 3 seconds. You can unmute, and then we'll move on to Wasi, who will be sharing his views on the green hat.
In a difficult situation, suppose you're wearing, excuse me, suppose you're wearing the yellow hat. Like he said, you should seek out value. But sometimes in difficult situations, like my parents always teach me, you should understand, see what you have learned from the situation, which can also be valuable.
Yeah, so that is also an application of the yellow hat, basically trying to see the lesson in it. So some things don't necessarily have to go your way every time, or as you had anticipated, or you don't need to get the result which you wanted every time, because that's how we learn in life. We learn from when we don't get stuff, or when we fail at something.
Hmm. Right. So, okay, Wasi, you can take over and explain whatever you have to about the green hat.
Okay. So good morning, ma'am. Uh,
Yeah, good evening, Vasi.
Sorry, ma'am.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. And today I will be explaining to you my views on the green hat. So the green hat is used for creative thinking. It is used for cultivating an idea. And so the green color of the green hat symbolizes fertility, growth, and the value of seeds. So it's mostly about planting an idea and cultivating it, so that later on we could use it in a better way. So creative thinking or the green hat is used mostly for thinking in an unusual way, or thinking in not a logical way, but instead of that, it is used for thinking in a different kind of way. So green hat is mostly about out of the box thinking, which many people say. For example, if you see that the tires of a car are circular in shape, so instead of that, why can't they be in any other shape? Why can't they be square or even a triangle? So we can think in that way. And provocation is an important part of green hat thinking, and it is symbolized by the word po. So this is another term which is used by Edward de Bono. So, so provocation means seeking out unusual patterns, and when you seek it out, then you should, it should provoke you to think in a different kind of way, not the logical way, not the usual way of finding out a solution to a problem, but instead a different kind of way. If you're seeing the problem through one side, so then switch it around and see it from another side.
Yes, Vasi, yeah, okay. I thought I couldn't hear you, so.
No, ma'am, actually, no, ma'am, that's not the case.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
And lateral thinking is a set of attitudes, idioms, and techniques for cutting across patterns in a self-organizing asymmetric patterning system. So it is mostly about perceptions, about how you perceive something in a way. And so that is how it is used to generate new concepts or new ideas. So in short, the green hat is used as a counter to the black hat, and instead of critically shutting down an idea, it is used to grow that idea. And so the the thinker and the listener both should be engaged in green hat thinking, so that it is not just mostly because through the exchange of ideas of both the thinker and the listener, a new solution can be generated. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Vasi.
Thank you, Vasi. Very true. Our own Tiranga, the green color in our own Tiranga denotes fertility, prosperity, and all of these things. So that's a beautiful explanation. Now comes my turn. This is the last hat, the blue hat. Now, blue signifies water. Water is very flexible. It takes the shape which it is put in whichever container it's put in. So this is about, this is what I infer, is that it's about being flexible in your own thinking and also understanding which sort of thinking to employ in which context. Now, I was 2 weeks ago, I came across this LinkedIn post. Allow me to present my screen. Tab. Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
just yeah. So now in the blue hat, the person says that before even thinking, you need to understand what sort of thinking you employ. There are different types of thinking. You have scientific thinking, you have independent thinking, you have lateral thinking. Someone mentioned that before. Then in the very initial part, Madam mentioned parallel thinking. You're thinking parallelly with the others, thinking emotionally. So all of these things are types of thinking. The author categorically mentions that we ought to use the blue hat in the beginning and at the end. And as presented and as explained by ma'am in her video, she said that initially you use the thinking hat to first define the problem and understand how you need to navigate through it. Towards the end, you have to again use the blue thinking hat to come with your conclusions. What are your conclusions? What is the summary? What have you inferred from what you're from whichever mental exercise you have involved yourself in? So this, while this thing is not included in the book, but I think this is quite relevant. And he says you think what you think. You first have to think the way in which you have to think. One is thinking creatively. You be inventive. You think of things which add on to the existing uh, the status quo, and you're trying to improve it. That is one. What Wasi said, there's the wheel. The wheel then became something else. The wheel became into a motor. And now that motor is used in so many appliances. It's even used in our CPUs, in that fan, cooling fan. It's used everywhere. So just see how we went on building on that, because human mind is creative. And use systems thinking, which I believe is very important. And we've also been taught in management about this. The larger interest of the organization is subordinated with respect to the individual interests of employees. While I may not absolutely accept this, I think that if your individual employee is happy, then everyone should be happy. But then when it comes to systems thinking, we need to understand that everything runs on interdependence. It's not absolute dependence or absolute independence. So the systems thinking comes over there. Critical thinking, when it comes to adjudicating on a matter, judging what is right and what is wrong, you need to be so critical thinking would come under the white hat, the very first hat. You're seeing things objectively, you're seeing things critically. This is again related to scientific thinking, which is under emotionally intelligent thinking. When you think in an impartial manner, that's when you indulge in wearing your white hat. That was supplemented by your wearing of the blue hat. And then comes emotionally intelligent again. So through the blue hat, then move on to the red hat based on the context. There are other types of thinking over here. They've used the word design thinking, and this word design has also come in the in one of the hats. I forgot which hats. So if anyone remembers, please do tell me. I remember reading it. And how you deconstruct a certain thing and make it into simple, small parts and then understand those things. Metacognitive way, how you be aware of your own thinking. So that's, again, I think metacognitive is a part of wearing the blue hat, deep understanding of things. There's surface understanding and there's deep understanding. For a person who is not educated, he would not know why it rains, right? So that's surface. And then you can give him stories that some person is sitting on top, he's blessing us. So, and an educated person would be able to logically tell you that, okay, the sun, there's evaporation, there's condensation, and then there's precipitation. That comes under deep understanding of things, going to the root of things. And I think that is the objective of education. You don't need to understand everything deeply, but you need to have that openness to understand things deeply. Object oriented is when you give examples and you explain things with patterns. So at the end, I would just say that blue thinking tells you how to think, and then accordingly you wear different hats. Then you juggle with hats. Trisha said you cannot wear all the hats at one time. Therefore, you should keep changing your hats depending on the situation. This is what I have to share on this. If there are any questions or any discussions, we can have it. I think we are not, we have not exceeded time. 5 more minutes until 6 p.m. So I think we can use that time for this. Thank you. And I think now no one is saying anything. Just see around you. If there is inaction, that inaction or that insensitivity is because we do not want to think. We're not willing to think. Madam said, it's actually very painful. Every time I say this, Madam has said that teachers themselves are not wearing masks. What example are these so-called teachers setting? Which means they don't want to think at all. They don't want to think. They don't want to employ systems thinking that my action has a repercussion, has some impact on the other. When I am in my house, I can do whatever the hell I want. But when I step out in the society, I have a duty to the other people, towards all the people around there. That's the social contract which we have with everyone. That's essentially because there's lack of the want to think. You will only think when you want to think.
I'd just like to add to that. Yeah, just like to add to that. I told you all this in the morning during the lecture when we had class. I said that, people do not think twice about breaking a signal, or the places where actually even like this, when not wearing a mask, they don't think anything about it. Why? And that is precisely why in Pune we are having such a big spike in the cases, because many people are being irresponsible. And I think none of us really are taught how to think in the right direction. Sometimes you go to a meeting and you realize what is a Mad Hatter's tea party, and that is exactly each person is in his own on his own trip, going in his own direction. And what I liked about the book is that it gives us some guidelines on how we can think. Always it's not possible for us to stick to facts in every decision. Being completely emotional about something also might not work. So this basically teaches us to examine things from different perspectives, which is what I liked about the book.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
if
sharing your
anyone
views on
else
this.
wants to say
Anyone else?
something. I'm sorry, were you telling me something, Rohan?
No, I said thank you for sharing your view, and I asked the same question. If anyone else wants to add.
Yeah, anyone else wants to say something?
I think
Huh.
book is which we have selected was a very good selection because everybody was thinking from one perspective. And thank you everybody for providing value to the discussion today. It was a really good discussion today.
Yeah. Actually, the book was quite lengthy, and that's why we all said, "Okay, chalo, let us divide it." Otherwise, if you tell people, "Acha, this entire book you have to review," it might be a bit overwhelming. So I think the next book, rather which you all are reading, that is a very short and sweet book. So I don't think that problem will arise. Um, I have people started reading the next book, or just only managed to finish this.
I've started Art of Dealing with People,
I have read it
but not
also.
completely.
I think rereading it works for me because sometimes I tend to lose my patience in dealing with all kinds of people. Yeah.
And I
Anybody?
would also just say that,
Huh?
Yeah. Let me just announce the event we have on Saturday. Or okay, we're going to have an event in the next week. This is about watching any movie from a given list. I'll share that list with all of the book club members as well. And you have to share your learnings of entrepreneurial attitude, entrepreneurial mindset, or entrepreneurship. So I
From
hope
that
all of you,
movie, from the movie that you watch.
yeah. And the next book is The Art of Dealing with People. I will share the PDF. And I would just say that let us also be aware that we've not just lost police officers, medical personnel, but also many animals who sacrifice their lives to get the vaccine to us. All these trials have happened on monkeys, and I know this for a fact that 18 monkeys from Maharashtra, the forests of Maharashtra, were taken, and they were tested. The effects are too much, and they are put to sleep. I'm using a very light term. Put to sleep matlab they are killed. So, keeping all of this in mind, that an animal has given its life for us, we should have more responsibility because that's an animal and we are human beings. So,
Yeah, and I think it's important for students when you see it around you. Supposing you're called to college for something, you have to speak up and say, okay, why wasn't my temperature taken? Why isn't there social distancing here? You have to speak up. Till you don't speak up, the change will never come. If you always think, array, people will get angry with me, how can I offend authority or whatever, then the change will never come. And I have spoken to students about this because third year students were called to college to collect their journals. I asked them whether any protocols were followed, and they said no. And I said, well, why didn't you say something? Because if you go there and you just think, acha, nothing, I'm just there for some time, and if you get infected, then you will carry that infection home. You would probably infect other people who you come in contact with, not only your family members. So in this way, public health is the responsibility of each and every one of us. We all are equally responsible for it. And if we don't see that we follow the rule number one, and that if it is not being followed, that we say something about it, then we are all contributing to the public health crisis which we are experiencing today. And our country has a huge population, We are not any US where they have the goal to vaccinate 60% of their population by May, and I'm sure they'll achieve it. Because my cousins who are, my age, a little younger than me, they've also got vaccinated. But here, for it to open up for everyone is like it's far away, you know.
Yeah, and the people who got vaccinated are not taking their second doses.
Yeah, they're not taking the second dose. True. Yes. It's there. And this is not only about, let's just say it's becoming a discussion about only COVID, but anything else that you see around you in the system in which you are. If you find that it is not working, you have to say. Because if you don't say, then you contribute to consolidating that practice. Whatever is prevalent, you by keeping quiet, you're consolidating it, and things will just get worse. Okay, so if nobody has, no one's saying anything. Ritu, Tahir, thank you for joining. तुम लोग पढ़े क्या book? रितु and Tahir.
मैम इतना नहीं, थोड़ी बहुत प्लीज.
थोड़ी बहुत पढ़ी. Okay, ठीक है. रितु, did you read? I didn't
Yes,
get.
ma'am. Actually, when I got to heard about yes, ma'am. I read it. I started reading it when it is only at initial level, not full.
Okay.
Complete.
All right. Okay. So I think anybody who wants to learn how to think, because your thoughts guide everything in life, it's a great read. So please go ahead and read it. And the next
Yes,
book
ma'am,
is
sure.
also very nice, The Art of Dealing with People. Okay. So Rohan, over to you since you're steering the session. Rohan? Okay. Where is he? I don't know. I can see him, but he's not saying anything.
Hello. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got disconnected. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I would just like to thank everyone for joining, and it was happy. I mean, it was really good that everyone joined and you took responsibility for your hat. That's really
Yeah.
good. We were apprehensive when we thought that, okay, if some person doesn't turn up, we'll try and cover it up. But you didn't let that situation come. Thank you very much.
So that's
And
good. Very nice. Yeah.
yeah. So I would just like to thank everyone for this and declare the session closed. I'll share the PDF of the next book afterwards, along with the event we are going to have in the next week. Learning
Yeah,
from
do participate. It's just you just have to watch a movie and make a Jamboard and just share what you thought. What you learned from it. Just something different. And I'm sure nobody has a problem watching a movie. At least I hope not. All right. Okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining today.